Welcome to Anti-Christianity 101, where I examine the forces of anti-Christianity in the world and occasionally review a religious book or two. Today's religious book is called Sometimes God Has a Kid's Face. This one's pretty cool. It's written by Sister Mary Rose McGeady, who had been the president of a place called Covenant House, a shelter for homeless and runaway kids. I don't know if the shelter's still around. This was published, when was this published? 2010, 14 years ago. And Sister Mary Rose McGeady is her name. Mary Rose McGeady. There's a little bio about her in the inleaf in the back. It's a very simple book, really. It's mostly just anecdotes about children that the sister had worked with in these shelters in the Covenant House, whatever city that was. Where was Covenant House? I'm guessing it was in multiple cities. But wherever she was based, she worked with people. I'm guessing Washington, D.C., because she regularly testified before committees there, and she did a lot of work with people in that area, it looks like. Washington, D.C., New York area. She died 12 years ago at the age of 84. Anyway, it's mostly just short stories, anecdotes, followed by a prayer that is kind of relevant to that particular anecdote, right? So, for example, here's a kid who's getting beat up all the time, right? And it talks about this kid named Joey who's just used to being beat up all the time, so she has a hard time to interact with him, right? He's out of his home, right, in the shelter, and he comes from an abusive family. So he's kind of messed up, both bodily and mentally, right, and spiritually. So she shares the story of this young Joey, and then she shares something that Joey wrote, right, written by a Covenant House kid. She doesn't say Joey, but it sounds like Joey. Our love. Sometimes I wonder how people judge our love. They never seem to notice that it comes from heaven above. But if our love is strong and true and solid to the soul, then listening to them is not what we'll do. Our love will be bold. The love we have will shine through storms. No matter how rough the times, forever and ever, we'll be together like the sun. Yes, it will shine. Written by a Covenant House kid. Most of these stories are by kids who've had abusive families, who got caught up in the gangbanging lifestyle, or became child prostitutes. Some of the stories actually even made me cry a little bit. After the whole thing, she puts in a section it's called Faith into Action, right? It's a few tips of how to apply basically the tips that she's learned in dealing with young people to helping young people now. And there's some pretty good stuff in there. Like, for example, here's a list of things getting along with your teen, things to think about, the ways that parents perceive and the way teens perceive, right? So, for example, number 6, let your teens sort things out themselves. Never say that you know how your teen feels. They believe their feelings, so new and personal, are unique. They will learn otherwise without your help. I think that's so important because, I remember that as a teen myself. You feel like, oh, your parents will never really understand, and they can't look through your eyes. And well, if you're a young person listening to this, that's a bunch of BS. Parents are perfectly capable of looking through your eyes and having empathy for you and understanding what you're going through. Your experiences are really not all that unique, okay? I don't want to burst your bubble there. But to help young people, we often just let them feel that their experiences are new and unique, and it's because we love you. Simple as that. But as you mature and grow up, you'll realize that we go through common struggles even till the end of our days. So some pretty good tips getting along with teens, kind of understanding the mindset of teens, the differences between the older and the younger generations in the way they think things through. Um, there's a pretty good section here, I think, called When to Get Help for Yourself, because often when we're helping other people, we often let our own lives go to dark places, right? And things like, we have trouble holding a job, or abusing drugs or alcohol, maybe we get violent with our kids or our spouse, right? So there are things in our own selves that we need to adjust as adults and continually to help others. We've got to help ourselves. Get help for yourself if you need it. Get a priest, get a counselor, get a friend to pray with you, get somebody to help you. But recognize that you need help. And no man is an island. Tips on what to do if your teen runs away. It's kind of interesting. It says most kids who run away return within 48 hours. That was my case. Gosh, I think I once ran away. It lasted all of maybe 10 hours, right? So, but kids often do successfully run away. And since this book has been published, we now have new threats for children in the shelters, right? Number one threat is we have the grooming of children to mutilate their body parts, right? To turn them into imaginary boys or girls by basically mutilating the bodies that God gave them. Everyone is made in God's image. Remember that from Genesis 1. We are all made in God's images. We are already perfect in God's eyes. We must try to just take this shell of a body we have and try to do what is right in this life. Right? But we are now faced with alternative children's shelters that are actually taking these children from parents' care and cutting off their body parts and other nasty things. So we have a crisis here, particularly in the United States, with this kind of thing, this transing of kids and the grooming of kids and things like that. So I think if Sister Mary Rose were alive now and did a revision, I'd be curious to hear her perspectives on working with young children who had their minds messed up by these people from the transsexual mafia. Anyway, sometimes God does have a kid's face, right? Sister Mary Rose McGeady. If you could find a copy, it could help you coach your youngster. Have a blessed day.